For each of the past two seasons, Lafayette's women's soccer made it into the Patriot League tournament. Obviously, now the next step is continuing that success. I'm Dobrowolski here with head coach Mick Statham and here to talk about signing day as the Leopards, a new group of freshmen coming in to help continue the extended success of this program. Your level of excitement for these players who are coming in?
Well, I think anytime you bring in a new class, it breeds new life into the team. Even for the returning players, it's good for them as well, just because it's a new team every year. So there's some excitement that goes with that. But this class coming in is very good, similar to the current freshman class we have. We've done well, I think, in attracting some good talent to College Hill. So I think overall, just the freshness of it always brings a level of excitement.
7 different players. You were able to, obviously, you want to get various different players from different positions, but also different recruiting areas as well. What were some of the biggest challenges to have that well-versed recruiting class?
Well, the challenge always is what kind of fit they will be here. There's tons and tons of good players out there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they'd be good at Lafayette or they'd be good fits for what we have and what we're looking to achieve both on and off the field. So that's the challenge of it, because the process needs to be thorough. It's not just about if someone has some talent soccer-wise. There's obvious academic strengths that needs to be met, academic interests that need to be met. There's even cultural things that our players hold dear and that we hold dear as coaches, that obviously we need to project that future players feel the same way about our main things as well. So there are a lot of things that go into it, but that's what makes it challenging, but it also what makes it really enjoyable as well, is trying to find those players that can make the program what it's starting to become.
Well, let's get right down to it. The 7 players. We'll go in alphabetical order, just make it as easy as that. We'll start off with the forward from Manhasset, New York. And obviously, having that dynamic ability up front is a key for a team that did a good job last year of spreading out the scoring ability. Ariana Ali-Prantis, what does she bring to the table, coming club ball from East Meadow and obviously high school from Manhasset, New York?
Well, I think what she brings is the ability to play in numerous positions. Her club coach was playing her up top for a period, but it was new for her. She can also play in the back. She can also play in the midfield if necessary. So she's a good player that can play in several different positions, which is obviously helpful for any college coach. She's got really great experience at good levels, even at regional level, and her personality, I think, is a really good fit for our team. So we're really expecting her to come in and contribute as soon as she gets here.
For those who have been following Lafayette women's soccer for a few years, any recent player that she might remind you of?
Not particularly from a playing style. There's certainly a personality is one that I think would remind people of several different characters that we've got. She's pretty outgoing and always smiling. But from a playing standpoint, she's a little bit different than what we've had in the past. On a playing standpoint, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that I could directly say, yeah, she's basically the same.
Always a great thing to have variety. Nothing wrong that you can go with
sure.
that. We'll move on now. Another forward, Catherine Butler, who hails from the Garden State Westfield High School, a very successful senior year, not just for her, but for her team at Westfield. They had an undefeated season. Unfortunately, they lost via penalty kicks to end their season. But what does she bring to the table, and obviously how might that winning mentality from high school carry over?
Well, I think she's dynamic. She's pretty direct in her play. There's really, her play is pretty black and white. She's going to goal. and she's got good athleticism, and she's good, I think, from a mentality standpoint. So I like the directness of what she does. There's no gray area to, she's not always trying to set up everybody else as a forward, which is, from your forwards, what you want more than anything is goals. That's always got to be their number one thing, not assists. So what I like about Katie is she has goals on her mind, and I think, of course, the number one thing is scoring more goals than the other team. So she's going to bring us another threat, similar to obviously what Krista has brought and what Alex has brought and what Alexa's been doing is, and obviously before that Kaylin and Melissa, is bringing a threat of goals.
And obviously that'll be a huge dynamic underclassmen duo between Krista Kissel and Catherine Butler. Sarah Connolly's up next. She hails from Massachusetts, a defensive player. So we kind of look from one side of the ball to the other. And obviously a lot of senior leadership last year on the back line. And with those graduations, the key is trying to find a young player who could step up defensively.
Yeah, and she reminds me of Gab a little bit. Sarah does. She's a really good athlete, but she's calm and she's good on the ball, which is similar to what Gab is. She's different than Olivia in a lot of ways, but she's also reminds me a little bit of Caitlin Barmer. The similar types of players where they don't get flustered and they're good on the ball, but they're also very good defenders, which obviously is their main job. And again, she's another one with really good attitude, great personality, very outgoing. Again, reminds me a little bit of Lauren Johnson in that way. Her personality reminds me of Lauren a little bit. So I think she's going to do very well.
From New England now down to Virginia, Mid-Atlantic area, Riley Dowd. Again, we're starting to see different players from different regions and different abilities. What does she bring to the table?
Well, what I love about Riley is she doesn't always play on script. So what I've always liked about Katie Brannigan is Katie will do things that most people won't try, and Riley's exactly the same. So she plays off the cuff, she's tricky, she's extremely clever with the ball, but she also has the technique to execute what she's seeing. But I really like the way she thinks about the game, because it's about as far from cookie cutter as you can get. She tries things that are at times can make you laugh a little bit just with the audacity of it, and I love that in attacking players, that flair and that creativity. So she's got great technique, great ideas, really nice person, and again it plays differently than Katie, but the end product is very similar. They're very good around the 18-yard box and in the attacking third.
From one all-local player from Virginia to another, Lindy Gibbs. Again, same type of question. What does she bring that might be different from the players on the team now, but who might she also remind you of?
Well, she's kind of no-nonsense, so she's a bit, I'd say she probably plays a little bit like Lauren does, outside back. We're going to move Lauren into the middle full-time this season, but she plays a little bit like Lauren does. She tackles hard. She's good on the ball. She's thinks defending first because, again, that's her job. So she's very reliable and just is a very good one-on-one defender. She's very difficult to get past, I think, and that's important that those outside areas are protected because you're isolated out there. So you need good one-on-one defenders, because if you don't, then that area of the field can become exposed pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, this follow-up question is not just for Lindy, but also Sarah. Obviously, last year, due to injuries, there were a lot of shuffling the coaches had to do with the back line, particularly outside back. How important it is to get these two players just to add some depth and versatility for a situation where if it arises again, you can move midfielders to back, but also maybe outside backs to center back.
Yeah, it's important, but it's also important to have good players coming in to add that depth. As I think as a coach, adding depth is not difficult because there's a lot of players out there, and it's not tough to find players. What is tough is to find really good players that can contribute and fit into what you are doing. And that's why I think these two are really valuable for us, because you're right, because of graduation with Gab and Olivia graduating and needing some players in the back four, we're really pleased that these two are going to come in and hopefully play straight away.
Well, Lindy was an all-conference, all-region player in Virginia. We now move locally to the Keystone State. And Sophia Hudson, a standout player, actually got some tournament time in Italy with the U.S. Youth Soccer Olympic Development Program. What does she bring? She's worked a lot as an attacking central mid during her high school time. Do you envision her doing something like that at the collegiate level?
Yeah, I think she's, again, multi-dimensional. She can play, as a holding central midfield player. She can play as an attacking central midfield player. So she's versatile because she's got a really good skill set. She's pretty dynamic athletically. But she's another one that's also very intelligent, and a lot of the time decision making is overlooked in the game. But her decision making is excellent, and I think that will set her up really well for a lot of success in college, because I think she's very smart. And Riley played on the same team as well in Italy. She was on the same team, so they're not only getting good experience here in the US, but getting international experience as well, playing against teams from other countries obviously is valuable as well. But I think she's going to be really, really good.
And again, a local product from Franklin Regional High School, not from the same state, but kind of locally from Hunterdon Central Regional, about an hour drive away from here. Julia Moran, what does she bring to the table?
Well, Julia is similar in some ways to Sophia, where she's really good decision maker, good technique, good athlete, so she can cover a lot of ground. Also has a lot of really good experience at club level. A club team a year or two ago won the national championship, which she was a good part of that, a core part of that team in her contribution. So she's had big minutes at big spots, which helps, I think, in college. I mean, it doesn't translate 100% because this is a totally different animal, but she's been in games where she's been asked to perform with a lot on the line. So she's another one that's pretty versatile in her play, but she has all the ingredients that good soccer players need in between her ears, and her technique is very good as well. So, and her attitude towards the game, I think, is outstanding.
And you got to it even before I asked. The PDA Gunners, they won a national championship a few years ago, and answered right away I wanted to know about in terms of that championship level experience, those big spots. But just to kind of wrap things up, Coach, overall from this class, what do you feel is kind of the theme that you get out of these young ladies? What dynamic they bring, not just to what they can bring on the field, but off the field as student athletes?
Well, I think there's a quality to the class that I think is very important for us to keep improving, is quality. And of course that isn't just on the field. That's an important part. My old boss at Florida State always used to say, I feel like I'm a better coach when I have better players. And there is some truth to continually attracting good talent and that translates into better results. But what I like about this group also is their passion to be here at Lafayette. I think that's important, not only from the players, but for the coaches too, that Lafayette College and Lafayette women's soccer, everyone feels really fortunate to be part of it and passionate about it, and understand that that's the main thing, is the team, the program, the school, and the philosophy that goes in that, and all those players obviously inside that locker room are the main thing. So what I like about this class is I think they understand that. I think they wanted that, as well as obviously, world-class academics. So I think this class is real. The word I think is quality. I think we've got top quality soccer players. I think we've got top quality students, but I think we've got top quality teammates and people coming in, which is critical to our mission.
Well, Coach, it seems like the foundation and the building blocks are there for success. I'm excited to see, and I'm sure all the Lafayette fans are excited to see what the class of 2022 can bring to the table.
Yeah, me too.
And thank you very much for sitting down and talking about the Leopards.
Go Leopards, man.
Indeed, go Leopards. Again, I'm Dobrowolski, this head coach Mick Statham for the Lafayette Sports Network.